All right, now on to the European football, looking at Arsenal versus Man City. I don't know, these two have, put up a stage for some vintage, Premier League drama. But anyway, and then also we have, while at that, we have the Wednesday night anticipation. Me from here, I'll be, ready to grab my popcorn bag and see how it goes. So let's dive into that and see what it's all about.
Well, Arsenal United is always the biggest game, certainly in these parts,
Always, yes.
because of the Sir Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger era. These are the teams which dominated English football at the boom of television in this country.
Yes.
And they are, I think for Arsenal it was the Kano effect, I believe. And then, of course, United were their rivals in that period. That rivalry has diminished in recent times because both teams have fallen on a lean spell, but it is always a big game, regardless of where United and Arsenal are sitting on the table. And it helps that going into this game, both teams scored a combined 9 goals. United scoring 4 against Everton, Arsenal scoring 5. Arsenal looking close to their very best with Martin Odegaard back. You have Bukayo Saka back, firing on all cylinders. You have Kai Havertz as well, Leandro Trossard. I think Arsenal are nearing full strength. United as well looked the part in the game against Everton, and it will be interesting to see, how this United team copes against Arsenal. United, I think that was, if I'm to be correct, perhaps their best performance of the season against Everton. They looked fluid, created chances, but they also required some heroics from Andres Onana at the back to maintain that clean sheet. I think United are still a work in progress in terms of mastering the famed 3-4-3 that Ruben Amorim is trying to build at the club, which was his philosophy at Sporting Lisbon. Arsenal, for me, will be the marginal favourites in this game. They're playing at home. They're the more settled squad, more established in terms of the coherence and the sort of team which Mikel Arteta will put out there. I think he knows his team perhaps better than Amorim, who's only taken over the reins. And I think it will be an interesting game between two sides who will want to play some free-flowing football.
Yeah, it's that derby, if you like. It's not, they're not in the same city and all, but in the sense of how important that fixture was in the Premiership 20 odd years ago. I could call it a derby. Is not as important, to be honest, in the bigger picture in the EPL as it was then. I just see I gauge from the reactions back then. There's so much hatred between United and Arsenal fans that you'd expect, even just in a country like Uganda, for there to be fights breaking out in the football shacks in Uganda or the bars themselves and all.
And they used to break down. They used to break out.
Which I don't think will happen on Wednesday night. There might be even
you don't
more
come
cordial.
branded on a menu tab.
There'll be more cordial, more cordial relationship between fans, I think. And you won't see on the pitch the battles we had when Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira came face to face in the tunnels and everything, or when Martin Keown attacked Ruud van Nistelrooy, or when the Neville brothers went after Antonio Reyes. Those days, those hot days, that kind of thing. You're not going to see it on the pitch tomorrow, I'm thinking. But because United are on the recovery path and Arsenal still have designs on the title, it remains very important and will be quite competitive. Now, United are a work in progress. What Ruben Amorim has been doing over the last 2 games, actually 3, let's say 3.
So
Ipswich, and then midweek against Bordeaux, and then at the weekend against Everton, his first win in the Premiership, is to chop and change to see which players are going to be able to fit into that 3-4-3 system of his, because it's been a drastic change in the approach for United players, and so they are still acclimatizing. So he's been chopping and changing, giving as many people a chance as possible to see which ones will fit best before he comes up with his first choice 11, the one that everybody will be jumping off people's lips and all, because at some point I'm sure it will be. So this game comes a little early in that experiment, because Amorim himself was saying, you know what, because I came in the middle of a season, I don't have as many training sessions as I'd like to have to impart. These guys are going to have to learn on the job. And I understand that perfectly, which is why, I mean, you saw at the where he started against Bordeaux, he started different guys and then started a different set of attackers. He changed from Garnacho to Zirkzee between games. So Zirkzee then started as one of the two inside forwards against Everton. Then he changed the wing backs. He changed in the middle of the game. He changed two of the back three just so he could see how the others can fit in. Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire coming on for De Ligt and Mazraoui. Mazraoui actually, who's been perhaps the best performer for United in this spell when Amorim has taken over. So he's still chopping and changing. I mean, today the combination of the double pivot is Casemiro and Ugarte. Tomorrow it's Ugarte and Mainu. When he first started, Eriksen was one of the two actually in his very first game. And he's still looking for the best partnership in there as well. So you can see that all over the pitch, there's still experiments there. But history has also taught us that in the games when United have been least expected to beat Arsenal is when they have. And in the games when United have been way too confident about their own form and all, is when actually Arsenal have punished them. Now, I don't know which one of the two teams is feeling that right now. I believe that Arsenal would feel like the superior side, and that United are the underdogs. Only thing is that, of course, United sounded that warning with the 4 goals against Everton, so perhaps there will be a little less complacency, a little less arrogance from Arsenal approaching the game.
The one thing which has changed about United since Erik ten Hag left is that all of a sudden there are goals in United. There are goals in United.
18-3.
Under Ten Hag, for some reason, the same players, there are no goals. I mean, you watch United struggling to score against just about each and every team. Right now, from the time when Van Nistelrooy took over and then Amorim, their goals.
Their goals, yeah.
Their goals, their chances, and once a team is scoring goals, then they have a chance in any game.
Yeah. One of the things that has happened, of course, is that under Van Nistelrooy, the confidence began to get back. The buoyancy from change, the momentum, guys picked up. So Amorim has taken over when 1 or 2 guys are actually feeling more confident now than they were a month ago, say, especially Marcus Rashford. But there's a few others in the United ranks as well. And then, of course, it helps, like I said, like Joshua Zirkzee just got himself on the score sheet. So he's looking good.
And then, of course, Amad Diallo, who I think was denied many chances under Ten Hag, which I never know why, is looking very good. Yeah, very good.
That's one of the things that's happening. Actually, Ahmad is perhaps the most important player right now. In him and Mazraoui, you could say is where the most important players have been actually for Amorim in terms of productivity since he started, and they're actually incidentally operating off the same flank. Mazraoui in the back three, Ahmad as the wing back. And you didn't think Ahmad would play as a wing back. You thought it would be either Mazraoui or Diallo, but he's doing a great job there. He can even do a greater job if he becomes one of the inside forwards as a 10, I think, because he'll be facing goal directly, not having to travel so many distances to shoot, and will be having options on either side of him.
I mean, he's actually getting the pressing game very well.
He's pressing well, but his passing and vision is great. Yeah. Now, the other reason why Amorim's team is scoring more than Ten Hag's was, apart from the confidence and all, is that while Man United, and this is something that people need to take note of, while Man United players are fighting to adjust to a new system, to find their way in there, to understand their roles properly and everything, and to come to gel as a team, the opponents themselves are struggling to defend against something different. Yes. And so, even in the game against Ipswich, United could have killed that game. It was a 1-1 draw, Amorim's first game. But if Garnacho had been sharp that day and Rashford, United would have run away with that game the same way they did against Everton, or the same way they bounced back against Bordeaux. Because one of the things that is happening is that teams are finding it difficult to defend against the wing backs, because some of the previous assignments they had, they have to come inside to defend. If you're fullback, for example, you have to come inside to defend against Garnacho. And then you're leaving that place wide open, because Garnacho is pulling you in. You think he's playing wing, but he's actually playing as an inside forward. So he comes in and you have to defend against him. Or because there are 3 forwards, you have to help the 2 centre backs because they're outnumbered. Against Everton, it was Zirkzee and Bruno who was the second 10, and Rashford. So there are three inside. One of the fullbacks perhaps steps in, or a midfielder steps in to help with one of them, and then spaces are created. Then one of the things United is doing is then they're playing the through ball into those players, or playing a ball over the top into spaces left by fullbacks for the wing backs to run into. So Ahmad and Dalot on the other side have been getting a lot of ball in spaces where there are no people to mark them. So I remember that Antonio Conte walked into the Premiership and won the Premiership in his first season with Chelsea because teams didn't understand how to defend properly against a back three. His was not a 3-4-3, it was a 3-5-2 actually. But you can imagine that in that season, the Nigerian Victor Moses became one of the best players in England. And even earned himself a transfer to Inter Milan and the Italian Serie A. I mean, this is an average talent who all of a sudden looked so good because they couldn't be stopped. Teams struggled for most of the season to adjust to what Antonio Conte was doing. So Amorim has an advantage in there. There will be teams that will struggle to understand how the movements are. Rashford, for example, has had balls over the top, over the last defender, played into him, from which he could have scored against Ipswich and against Bordeaux. He got a goal making that run against Everton because all of a sudden it's not only him you're watching. There's another guy behind him. There's Zirkzee, and Bruno is not too far behind. It might be Rasmus Højlund in another game. So it's the same thing.
Yeah, but Mark, I think from United's perspective, one area where they'll have to be very, very wary of going to this game is the set plays. I think Arsenal are the most deadly team in the Premier League in set plays. The 5-2 victory over West Ham was started by that header by Gabriel.
Yes.
And we've seen Arsenal punish teams from set plays time and time again.
Even Sporting Lisbon in midweek in Champions League.
Midweek when they drew in Man City 2-2. I mean, their set plays are very, very hard to defend. And I'm not too sure United are very equipped to stop Arsenal from those set plays. I think, and I mean, it is a credit to Mikel Arteta because you know how Arsenal, they've got all these silky moves and all these flair players. When you have the movement of Trossard and Odegaard, Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz, and the likes, we know all that's well documented. But to see Arsenal become such a deadly team from the set plays is a testament to the work they've put in becoming very, very undefendable from set plays. And United will have to be very, very worried because big games of this nature, I call it a big game because of the historical sentiments around it, are decided by small details. And I think United will have to work.
I agree with Mark on the set pieces. It's Arsenal are devastating from those, and United are going to have to be big and to stand strong, to be resilient. The other area of worry for United, again, is for us, especially where Arsenal are concerned, is in the back three, because what happens with the back three, as opposed to a flat four? A flat back four means that the two central defenders are playing quite close to each other, either in a straight line or one ahead of the other as a sweeper. But when you have a back three, there's a bit of isolation because one of the three defenders is actually covering the left, as you've seen with Martinez or Luke Shaw, and the other is covering the right, as we've seen with Mazraoui. That leaves this Delete or this Maguire standing on his own against the firepower of Arsenal, the ability of Odegaard to pass, the ability of Saka to beat that man wide and come inside, and the runs that Trossard or Martinez make. United are going to be exposed.
If you visualize
there,
Bukayo Saka against Harry Maguire, that's a no contest.
In a one-on-one. And if you draw one of them out of position, then Kai Havertz will step into there unmarked and have a run at goal. Have a run at goal, and he's finishing greatly. So that's where there's a vulnerability in the back three for United, which they really have to work on. I think it's the two pivots, the defensive midfielders have got to double back. One of the things, of course, that happens with the back three.
Ogate will be
very critical. Absolutely. But also the wing backs now. Dalot and Ahmad have been bombing forward in the first games for Amorim against supposedly weaker opposition. So, but now, instead of a back three, Arsenal is going to force United into that becoming a back five. So Dalot and Ahmad are going to find themselves in more defensive positions than attacking positions when they were against Everton. So therein lies the work for Man United, because like Mark said, and I agree, since we've been disagreeing a lot, but I agree on this one, Arsenal go into this game as the favourites.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm waiting to grab my popcorn, like I said. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So right now we have Elsa abroad, definitely.